The title of this book is Christian Paganism. We are now in part 12 of this book. It is written by our beloved brother, Frank Vauler. We are in chapter 2. We continue in chapter 2. The most famous Christian holy space were St. Peter's on the Vatican Hill, and got built over the super stone of Peter. St. Paul's outside the whale, and got built over the super stone of Paul. The dazzling and astonishing church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and got built over the super stone of Christ, and the church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, and got built over the super cave of Jesus' birth. Constantine built 9 churches in Rome and many others in Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Constantinople. Exploring the first church building. Because the church building was regarded as sacred, congregants had to undergo a purification ritual before entering. So, in the 4th century, 14 were erected in the courtyard so that Christians could wash before they enter the building. Constantine's church building were spacious and magnificent edifices that were said to be worthy of an emperor. They were so splendid that his pagan contemporarily observed that these huge buildings imitated the structure of pagan temple. Constantine even decorated the new church building with pagan art. The church edifices built under Constantine were patterned exactly after the model of the basilica. These were the common government building, designed after Greek pagan temple. Basilicas serve the same function as high school auditorium do today. They were wonderful for sitting passive and docile crowd to watch the performance. This was one of the reasons why Constantine chose the basilica model. He also favored it because of his fascination with sun worship. Basilica were designed so that the sun fell upon the speaker as he faced the congregation, like the temple of the Greek and Romans. The Christian basilica were built with a facade and cut front facing east. Let's explore the inside of the Christian basilica. It was an exact duplicate of the Roman basilica that was used for Roman magistrate and officer. Christian basilica possessed an elevated platform where the clergy ministered. The platform was usually elevated by several steps. There was also a rail or screen that separated the clergy from the laity. In the center of the building was the altar. It was either a table and cut the altar table or a chest covered with a lid. The altar was considered the most holy place in the building for 2 reasons. First, it often contained the relic of the martyr, and got after the 5th century, the presence of a relic in the church altar was essential to make the church legitimate. Second, upon the altar sat the Eucharisty, and got the bread and the cup. The Eucharisty, now held as a sacred sacrifice, was offered upon the altar. No one but the clergy, who were regarded as holy men, were allowed to receive the Eucharisty within the altar rail. In front, in front of the altar stood the bishop's chair, which was called cathedra. The cathedra. The term ex cathedra is derived from this chair. Ex cathedra means from the throne. The bishop chair or throne, as it was called, was the biggest and most elaborated seat in the building. It replaced the seat of the judge in the Roman basilica, and it was surrounded by two rows of chairs reserved for the elder. The sermon was preached from the bishop's chair. The power and authority rested in the chair, which was covered with a white linen cloth. The elder and diacon sat on either side of it in a semicircle. The hierarchical distinction embedded in the basilican architecture was unmistakable. Interestingly, most present-day church buildings have special chairs for the pastor and his staff situated on the platform behind the pulpit. In court, like the bishop's throne, the pastor's chair is usually the largest of them all. All of this is a clear carry over from the pagan basilica. In addition to all of this, Constantine did not destroy pagan temples on a large scale. Neither did he close them. In some places existing pagan temples were empty of their idol and converted into Christian edifices. The Christians used material scrap from pagan temple and built new church building on pagan temple. Major influences on worship. Major influences on worship. Major influences on worship. The advent of the church buildings brought significant change to Christian worship. Because the emperor was the number one lay person in the church, a simple ceremony was not sufficient. In order to honor him, the pomp and ritual of the imperial court was incorporated into the Christian liturgy. It was the custom of the Roman emperor to have light carried before them whenever they appear in public. The lights were accompanied by a basin of fire filled with aromatic spices. Taking his cue from this custom, Constantine introduced candle and the burning of incense as part of the church service, and they were brought in when the clergy entered the room. Under Constantine's reign, the clergy, who had first worn every day cloth, began dressing in special garments. What were those special clothes? They were the garments of Roman officers, featured various gestures of respect toward the clergy, comparable to those used to honor Roman officers, were introduced in the church. The Roman custom of beginning a service with processional music was adopted as well. For this purpose, choirs were developed and brought into the Christian church. In see chapter 7 for more on the origin of the choir. Worship became more professional, dramatic, and ceremonial. All of these features were borrowed from the Greco-Roman culture and carried straight into the Christian church. 4th century Christianity was being profoundly shaped by Greek paganism and Roman imperialism. The upshot of it all was that there was a loss of intimacy and open participation. The professional clergy perform the act of worship while the laity look on as spectator. As one Catholic scholar wrote, with the coming of Constantine, various customs of ancient Rome culture flowed into the Christian liturgy. Even the ceremony involved in the ancient worship of the emperor as a deity found their way into the church worship only in their secularized form. Constantine brought peace for all Christians. Under his reign, the Christian faith had become legitimate. In fact, it had risen to a stature greater than Judaism and paganism.